people I left behind. Wondering if they're still thinking about me.
Hey, welcome back to ScreenCrush. I'm Colton Ogburn, and this is a recap of DARYL DIXON Season 1, giving you everything you need to know before watching the upcoming second season, DARYL DIXON, The Book of Carol, premiering Sunday, September 29th on AMC and AMC+. They're the sponsor of this video. And hey, we're going on a tour around the country and we would love to see you in person. The link for tickets is in the description below. So, The Walking Dead series finale saw DARYL DIXON and his best friend Carol part ways.
I love you.
I love you too.
DARYL has found himself in Maine, and he's out there still looking for his brother from another mother, Rick Grimes, who has been missing ever since that tragic day on the bridge when Rick shot a stack of dynamite to stop a walker horde from crossing the bridge. Rick washed up on a riverbed and was taken by the CRM.
What's a CRM?
Well, that's actually all covered in the Walking Dead spinoff series, The Ones Who Live. Be sure to check that out as well. So in the DARYL DIXON show, he is about to head back home to Virginia when this man asks him if he wants to do a job with him catching walkers in exchange for some fuel. This group they do the job for is gathering walkers for a ship from France that is collecting walkers for testing, but more on that in a bit. So when DARYL arrives at this new group space, he radios Carol and tells her that he'll be home within the week.
Just gathering us some fuel. I'll be there in about a week. I promise.
There, DARYL befriends a young man who is later killed and added to the walker tally so that these guys can get more fuel. DARYL is floored and punches the guy for murdering the kid, breaking a key rule of this group: no fighting.
Ground rules, fellas. Fighting will not be tolerated.
DARYL and the guy he got in a fight with are then placed on the ship to France to serve as walker food. DARYL is able to escape in an action-packed fashion, but he is now stranded at sea and ultimately ends up in France anyway. DARYL washes ashore and explores this new land. He encounters yet another evolved walker called a burner who are hot to the touch. DARYL then meets some other survivors and trades with them. They are then attacked by these two men who are part of a group called Power of the Living. DARYL is able to kill these attackers, saving himself and the young woman and old man who he was trading with before. But they don't return the favor. Instead, they rob him and flee the scene. But they are later captured by the brother of Michelle, one of the attackers, Colton, who wants revenge for DARYL killing his brother. DARYL is then found by a nun called Isabel, who is part of the Union of Hope. She brings him back to their abbey and tends to his wounds.
Attention, ne bougez pas. Courage, allez-y.
There, DARYL meets a young man named Laurent, who the Union believes is their savior, the Second Coming. So Laurent is Isabel's nephew and the son of her deceased sister, Lily. Lily died during childbirth and actually turned into a walker before Laurent was actually delivered.
His mother died in childbirth. He shouldn't have survived that. It's a miracle he's even alive.
His successful delivery is why they believe him to be a miracle. Isabel believes that DARYL is destined to take Laurent to Paris to the Union's primary base. DARYL dismisses the idea and he leaves the abbey.
Could be fine. Besides, the kid likes it here. You're safe. You got lucky.
But later, they are attacked by Colton and his men, so DARYL comes back to help fight off the attackers. DARYL then ultimately agrees to help Isabel and Laurent on their journey to Paris. And you know, that really reminds us of the selfless hero that DARYL DIXON has become starting way back in season 2 of the original series, when we saw DARYL risk his own life on multiple occasions to help Carol find her missing daughter, Sophia. And this was the beginning of this unbreakable bond between these two characters of DARYL and Carol. The connection between DARYL and Carol is one that cannot be broken, and this second season of The Walking Dead DARYL DIXON, The Book of Carol, will show us just that. These two are literally separated by an ocean, but not even that can keep them apart. And hey, the best way to experience this long-awaited reunion is on AMC+, where you can watch brand new episodes of The Walking Dead DARYL DIXON, The Book of Carol, before it airs on AMC. The series debuts the night of September 29th on the AMC channel, but if you sign up for AMC+, you could watch it hours before, starting at 12 a.m. Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern Time. So be sure to sign up for AMC Plus using our link in the description below and experience The Walking Dead DARYL DIXON, The Book of Carol before everyone else, as well as gaining full access to their other great shows in the Walking Dead universe and other AMC classics like Mad Men, and you also get Shudder's horror film library with movies like Late Night with the Devil. So anyway, on their journey, DARYL, Isabel, and Laurent encounter a group of children who live with their dying teacher, Madame Du Bois.
She's our parents and our nurse. Teach us everything. And she got sick.
DARYL offers to help them out by getting her medicine in exchange for help from this kid, Lou, in raiding a nearby castle. At the castle, they encounter a Texan, RJ Gaines.
God damn, a fellow American. Name's RJ. RJ Gaines.
Gaines is no good and has a boy trapped in the castle, which DARYL and Lou free. And old RJ ends up falling into a moat of walkers. DARYL and the group move along, and Laurent is becoming displeased with the information that is being kept from him.
Laurent, get in the cart. Don't be a baby.
She treats me like a baby.
Elsewhere, Colton comes across a message DARYL had recorded upon arriving in France at the beginning of the series.
If I don't make it back, I want him to know I tried.
Colton also finds a map detailing their journey to the Union. They then meet Fallot, who helps DARYL in his pursuit for a way back home to America. They wind up at a dope nightclub where they actually meet Laurent's father, Quinn.
Hi, Izzy. It's been a minute.
We also learn more about the walker experimentation happening in France.
Progresse.
So in the final season of the Walking Dead original series, we saw evolved walkers who were learning to do things like climb and open doors.
What the f?
So Quinn wants Isabel and Laurent to stay with him. DARYL says it ain't happening, and he prepares for them to leave. Following an argument with Isabel, we see Laurent run away. Jeanette, the wannabe president of post-apocalyptic France, partners with Colton and demands that Laurent be captured. She views the hope that he represents as an obstacle to her seizing power. DARYL finds and rescues Laurent from the Eiffel Tower, but Laurent is captured by Quinn and his men. DARYL again rescues Laurent, and during their escape, Quinn is bit by a walker, and he ultimately sacrifices himself to save his son.
You could buy me some time. Help save her and Laurent.
And Laurent, like Carl Grimes before him all those years ago, is forced to put down his own parent. DARYL and his group are then once again ambushed by Jeanette's men, but Colton refuses to hurt Laurent and ends up betraying Jeanette.
Je vous aime.
DARYL and the others finally arrive at the Nest, that's the Union's home base, and DARYL faces a tough decision on whether to stay or return home.
I got family waiting for me back home.
Well, you've got people here who hope you'll stay.
DARYL ultimately decides that he is going to go back to America, and Isabel accuses him of abandoning Laurent.
You think you're escaping history by doing this, but you are not. You're repeating it.
And we should also point out that there has totally been some romance brewing between DARYL and Isabel all season. Now, before departing to America, DARYL arrives at the American Normandy Cemetery on Omaha Beach, where he finds the gravestone of his grandfather who fought in the war. Now, DARYL comes from a seemingly long line of degenerates. It was well established in the main series that he didn't have many great influences in his life, and if not for the end of the world, DARYL Dixon himself may have never become the good man that we know him to be. In the apocalypse, DARYL himself has spent years fighting wars, whether it be armies of the dead, the governor, Negan, the Whisperers, or the Commonwealth. DARYL Dixon, in many ways, is a veteran in his own right. So, getting to see DARYL visit the grave of his soldier grandfather on the other side of the world, it was just a really special moment that ultimately leads DARYL to deciding to stay. But back in the States, we see this guy riding DARYL's motorcycle, and he is being pursued by Carol.
I'm looking for a friend of mine. Name's DARYL Dixon.
Never heard of no Dixon.
That's his bike you're riding.
After DARYL didn't return home within the week, Carol embarked on a mission to find him. And that leads us into the upcoming second season, DARYL Dixon, The Book of Carol, on AMC and of course AMC Plus, Sunday, September 29th.
Sunday night.
And before diving into that season, we need to remember that Carol is of course a complete badass. We have seen her single-handedly take down the cannibals at Terminus, the wolves attack on Alexandria, a group of saviors during the war with Negan. I could go on. She is by far one of The Walking Dead's greatest characters, and I am so glad that she is returning to the Walking Dead universe for this new series. Both of these characters feel like outcasts, misfits. They don't really know their place in life, but both of them seem to ultimately become their better selves in the apocalypse. apocalypse. In a timeline where the world never ended, these two characters would never have even crossed paths, much less be best friends. But their strong bond shows us how different things can be in a world redefined by a takeover of the dead. Now, me personally, I've always been a Rick Grimes fanboy myself, but I share the same admiration most fans do for this dynamic duo, and I cannot wait to see them reunited and back in action in The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol. Well, that was a recap of Daryl Dixon Season 1, giving you everything you need to know before watching the second season, The Book of Carol. Let us know anything we missed down in the comments below, or you can @ me on Twitter. And hey, if it's your first time here, be sure to subscribe, smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Colton Ogburn.